I love teaching shared text. It teaches kids to be able to interpret any text.
So what do those two roads represent?
I think those two roads represent a key change in life.
And if they can interpret and find the main idea of any text consistently, then they can teach themselves anything, and that's our goal for all of our kids.
Scholars, today we're gonna start a new text. Can someone tell me what the genre is? What is the genre? Kevin?
This is a poem because it has stanzas and other things that a poem has.
The purpose of Shared Text Day 1 is to help the children distill the main idea through a close analysis of a text.
What are our two thinking jobs for poetry? Sakai?
The first thinking job is literal meaning.
Okay, what does she mean when she says the literal meaning? Corinne?
I think what literal meaning means what happened.
The literal meaning is what happens. Okay, so that's our first thinking job. What's the second part of our thinking job? Jereya?
The second thinking job is what is the deeper meaning.
The deeper meaning is the idea in your main idea.
After they've identified the genre and the thinking job, which I expect them to do pretty swiftly, we then step back and do 1 or 2 readings together for fluency.
So your job right now, as we read it once through as a class, is to try and keep up with me.
The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And me one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it ended the undergrowth.
Shared text is a great opportunity to teach fluency, and that's where me and my AT really work well together. As I'm helping the scholars keep up with me, my AT, Ms. Pena, is making sure to take note of those children who can't keep up with me, and then we use that data as well to make sure that we go back and help the kids who are struggling with fluency, or scaffolding for them in a different way so that they can become more fluent, not only in shared text, but in guided reading and in their independent reading as well.
So let's try the first stanza. What exactly is happening in this stanza? Paco.
The literal meaning of the stanza is that the speaker is trying to decide which way to go.
Where is the speaker? Noah?
The speaker is outside in a fork of 2 roads.
What's your evidence? Prove it.
My evidence is, it says on the first line, 2 roads diverge in a yellow wood.
Okay, so can you be more specific about the setting?
He is standing in front of 2 roads.
Now we're gonna move on to the second stanza to find the literal meaning. Then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. What's happening in this stanza, Oderosi?
In the stanza, what's happening is that the poet.
Stop. In this stanza, just tell us. You don't need to say what's happening.
In this stanza, the poet is not realizing that the roads are the same.
Could you explain that?
He's not realizing that the roads are the same because at the end of the stanza, it says, I had warned them really about the same, which tells me that they're both the same.
Great, let's keep going. Last stanza. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Does that match the prior stanzas and what we've discussed is happening literally in the prior stanzas? Why or why not? Amari?
I think that it doesn't relate to the stanzas before it because the stanza before it said that they're the same, and now he's saying that he took the one less traveled by.
Now that we've really noticed that major change, we can move on to understanding the deeper meaning of this poem. So I'm wondering what these roads represent. Shemai?
I think those 2 roads represent a key change in life.
What do you mean when you say the 2 roads represent a key change in life?
If you look at the end of the poem, it says, and that has made all the difference. So that proves that it made a change in his life.
But I want us to go back to where he noticed that the roads were the same. But then at the end, he said that he took the one less traveled. So when he looks back on this choice that he made in life, what is he thinking when he looks back on this choice that he has made? Paco?
The speaker
thinks that he made the right decision.
The speaker believes he made the right decision. Why do you think that?
I think that because he said he would look back on it and with a sigh, and I think that when he would sigh, it would show that he was relieved.
Do we have any evidence to prove whether this was a positive or negative choice?
In the text, it didn't say anything about him making the correct choice. Only thing I know is that he could have made the right choice or the wrong choice.
So I agree with you, Jameek. I think that Robert Frost is being purposefully ambiguous. Even though he has this false confidence, we're not sure if he made the right choice or the wrong choice. But we do know that the theme of this poem is about what? Charlize?
The major theme of this poem is choice because there's two roads and he has to think whether he has to take this one or this one.
Also, in this poem, a choice can make a difference in your life.
Yeah, and even small choices can make a difference.
So wait a second, scholars. Let's go back and consider the title, because we know that the title is a key component in understanding or getting to the main idea. So why do you think Robert Frost chose to title this The Road Not Taken? Sakai?
This title is significant because normally somebody would say the road taken, but he says the road not taken because he wants to make the reader recognize that there was two paths and he had to make a choice between one, and he chose one, but one was not taken.
So now we're gonna connect the literal and the deeper meaning to come up with our main idea and make sure that our main idea has a strong idea and represents the strong idea that Robert Frost is trying to send us. So a great main idea has to be grounded in the text. It has to specifically state literally what happens in the text and then be able to create an idea around that.
And the road represents choices in life, and the choices that you make can lead to other choices.
Great, scholars. And now we've underlined and identified the idea in our main idea by connecting the literal and the deeper meaning. Scholars, now you're gonna go back to your seat and do the same thing with a different text. You're gonna need to determine the genre. You're gonna need to own the thinking job. And when you own the thinking job, you use it to write a strong main idea. And what does a strong main idea have?
An idea.
So once we've tackled one text together and we've gone through all of the questions and come to that great main idea, then I send the scholars back to their seats and they have to do it with a different text. You're gonna go to your zone. What I want them to make sure that they do is really seamlessly put together the literal and the deeper with a higher level vocabulary. With my group, I'm just gonna make sure that they hit on the literal and that they're starting to think about the deeper, but your group should be able to hit the deeper much faster. Yeah. What I'm noticing is that you've done a great job jotting and you really held on to the meaning, but all I'm seeing here is which, the literal or the deeper meaning? Which one? You wrote, you could always remember someone. Is this literally what happened in the poem, or is this the deeper meaning of the poem?
Literal.
No, my love. This is the deeper meaning, but I need you to make sure that you can prove to me that you understood exactly what happened in the poem that got you to this deeper meaning, right? Something in the poem told you that this was the deeper meaning that Eloise Greenfield was trying to get to you. All right? So if you could add something before this, that would prove to me that you took something out of the poem to get to this deeper meaning. All right? Okay. Okay, Fatim, what you've written down, is this the literal or the deeper meaning? It is the literal. Good. So now you need to find that deeper meaning. Can you look at me for a second? Eloise Greenfield and all poets write poetry to express a deeper meaning about something in life, all right? So I want you to look back at all that you've jotted and all that you've written so far in your main idea. What's that deeper message that Eloise Greenfield is sending, okay? All right, I'm gonna come back in 1 minute. You're gonna have it down? Okay. During the wrap-up, it's an awesome opportunity for scholars to look at each other's work, evaluate it, and have a conversation about it. So, Mr. Benton Mackay really jotted up his paper well. He made sure that he owned the genre and owned the thinking job, and that led him to write this.
When someone dies that's close to you and they give you something, you should keep it to remember the person that died, proving you can give people something to remember you by. What do you guys think? Is this a strong main idea? Why or why not? Sakai.
I think that this is not a good main idea because you told.
Why not? I mean, we have this deeper meaning here. He discusses that you can give people something to remember you by.
Because he doesn't discuss the literal meaning.
Okay, so you believe that this main idea could be stronger if he discussed the literal meaning. Okay, now we're gonna look at another main idea and we're gonna try and compare and contrast the two and see which is stronger. Let's look at Mariah's. Can everyone see? Remember, hold yourself accountable for your education. If you can't see, you need to tell me. In this poem, the poet writes about Ms. W, I assume that's Ms. Williams. In this poem, the poet writes about Ms. W dying and leaving her something special that she kept to show that you can always remember somebody. Who would like to evaluate this main idea? Makai, what is the difference between your main idea and hers?
The difference between my main idea and Mariah's main idea was that I didn't talk about Miss Williams dying.
So what part did you leave out in your main idea?
Literal meaning.
This is a powerful moment, scholars. This is where learning occurs. When you notice that you've done something and that you can improve. So what Makai has identified here is Mariah's ability to use the literal meaning to get to that deeper meaning, using exactly what's happening in the poem to help her better understand, and for me as her teacher to believe that she can unpack a poem, that she understands what happens, and therefore she can get to that deeper meaning that the poet is trying to send his audience or her audience.